do we appeal to folks' attraction to beauty in a way that is actually meaningful and positive and uplifting?
I'm by no means an expert on storytelling. However, I do know that there are universals when it comes to storytelling. We all, as human beings, respond to hearing about or watching the story of someone overcoming some sort of obstacle or injustice. And I see that there's beauty in that because it's the human spirit, it's human perseverance. I think that whenever you produce a piece of media that talks about an individual or a community achieving something and conquering a fear or overcoming an obstacle, either as an individual or a community, that people are going to respond to it. A lot of films have been stuck in, having to represent violence or having to represent sex or having to pander to the base desires of humanity that aren't really going to help uplift us. But at the same time, one of those base desires is this connection to the triumph of the human will. And whenever we see someone who succeeds, whether they're an Olympic athlete who breaks a record or whether it's a child who learns how to walk, we're going to have an emotional response to that. So I think as filmmakers, we can use this to create pieces of media that inspire others and that help, create more connectivity around the world.
What can we do about the prevailing response that says that really we're just giving people what we want through offering violence, through offering sex, through offering materialism, etc.? It's a response that I get all the time. When I'm like, okay, so why does it have to be like that? Well, it's like, that's what people want. That's what sells. That's what people are buying. So is there anything that, that you would say to that regarding what you've been seeing in the industry?
It's the most difficult question because you give people what they want essentially so that it can be successful. Most of the time you want it to be successful so that you can make money off of it. But that's the thing. We know that everyone needs to have a vocation. Everyone needs to earn income. So as filmmakers, you want to earn an income so that you can, build your life. And I think that oftentimes it's easy to find a compromise so that you can continue your career, so that ultimately, you can tell the story you really want to tell or produce the film you really want to produce. At the same time, if we were to look throughout history at artists that are universally respected, they are people who had the courage to just do their own thing, regardless of how contrary it was. And then eventually the world realized how amazing or how beautiful that was. So that's really the dilemma that anyone who produces media is going to be faced with. Do you, based on your values, develop a piece of media that reflects those values but might do very poorly in the marketplace and therefore don't really gain much success or prominence in your career? Or do you create media that is successful, that earns you income, that gives you the comforts of this world? Now, obviously, it's not a black and white issue. Everyone has to choose where they're going to fall along the continuum. But I think at least by recognizing that there are these two poles, young artists and young media producers can begin to think about where it is that they want to fall. Editors and sound designers have done brilliant jobs masking the cuts in these interviews. But I know for myself, sometimes I'm taking different parts of interviews and joining them together to create a totally different phrase, which might have a totally different message.
vibrations which are not visible to the eye, but which are rapid enough to be sensed by the ear.